Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the Town of Batavia Planning Board meeting to order for Tuesday, February 2nd. Because of the coronavirus pandemic and state and federal bans on large meetings or gatherings, and pursuant to Governor Cuomo's executive order suspending the open meeting law, the Town of Batavia Planning Board meeting will be held electronically via Zoom video conference instead of a public meeting open for the public to attend in person. Minutes of the meeting will be posted at the town's website. Kim, would you read the first public hearing notice, please?
Yes. Notice of public hearing, Batavia Solar, LLC, ground-mounted solar system. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Town of Batavia Planning Board regarding an application for a special use permit by Batavia Solar, LLC for the installation of a 1.65 MWAC ground-mounted community solar system at 99 MedTech Drive in the Town of Batavia. This is in a planned unit development PUD district, tax map 9.1-216.11. Said hearing will be held electronically via Zoom video conference instead of a public meeting on Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021 at 7 p.m., at which time all interested persons will be heard. Written comments will be accepted until February 1st, 2021. By order of the Town of Batavia Planning Board, Kathleen Jasinski, Chairman.
Okay, I did not receive any written comments. I did not receive any phone calls. So tonight we will take just verbal comments. First of all, who is here for the project?
My name is Jim Tarabella, and I am here on behalf of Batavia Solar LLC. I am the engineer of record on the project.
Okay, Kim, did you get that?
Yes.
Okay, Jim, would you like to just do a summary of the project for the people here?
Absolutely. And if you would like, I could share a screenshot of the proposed sketch plan.
Okay.
But that's up to you guys.
Oh, I think that would work good.
All right, if you want to allow, the host needs to give me the ability to do that.
Sarah, can you do that? She's saying yes. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. There we go.
Good.
And I want this one. Let me hit share. And if you guys will just let me know when it pops up, then I'll start so I know everybody's at least seeing what I'm seeing.
Okay, we got it.
Perfect. As I mentioned, my name is Jim Tarabella. I am engineer for Labella Associates, working with Batavia Solar LLC. And we've developed plans for the installation of this 1.65 megawatt AC solar array to be installed on this currently vacant parcel. As previously mentioned, the parcel is in a planned unit development district, and the entire parcel is about 7.95 acres, and of which 5.63 acres will be fenced in for this solar array. Excuse me, sorry about that. The proposed community solar system for the property includes the installation of approximately 4,500 modules using a fixed access racking system that at the highest point will stand about 8 feet in height. The tables will be spaced at 13.5-foot intervals using a screw pile system for foundations. So we're not going to dig up the ground to install foundations. We can screw them in at the end of the project life cycle. We'll take the panels down, recycle them, screw the piles out, and do any touch-up work that needs to be done. The proposed access road will be a GeoWeb system, which is a permeable system. So we will not be increasing pervious coverage on the site for the access road. There will, however, be an equipment pad that will be impervious. It's you can see it right here. This is the pervious access road, and then the 13 by 20 or so equipment pad. Let's see here. The maximum depth of our ground disturbance will not exceed 4 feet, and the helical screws will only be installed to a depth of 8 to 10 feet. And as I mentioned before, the entire property, or not the entire property, I misstated that, the entire array, including the equipment pad, will be surrounded by a 6-foot high chain link fence. The current layout that you see in front of you adheres to the setbacks in the PUD district, which represents a 50-foot front setback, a 30-foot side setback, and a 40-foot rear setback. And that is the basics of what we're planning to do, or hoping to do, I should say.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll take public comments. Sarah is our host tonight, and Sarah Saka, and I'm going to ask her to call on people. Are you there, Sarah? I can't see you.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, there you are. Okay. How do you want to do that? Do you want them just to give their names, or do you want to call on them and let them speak?
We can have them just unmute themselves and say their names, and then we can. I'll just make a list,
Okay.
and then they can. Then I can call on them.
Okay, so you just want their names right now.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Tim Morrow.
Thank you, Tim. Anyone else? If you wish to speak, unmute yourself and give your name, please. Does anyone else wish to speak at this public hearing? Okay, well, Sarah, that's going to be easy. Go ahead.
All right, Tim Morrow.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be easy, Kathy, but I have concerns. Is Bank Street Road to the north or west?
Yep, you're going to have to answer that. We don't normally do answers, but if you have it, you could tell them.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite make out that question. I apologize.
Is Bank Street Road to the west?
Yes.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, so that's College Road, right?
Yes. Well,
I'm sorry if I'm just trying to figure your print out. That house that's in the print, is that Michael X or is that?
It belongs to, as of the preparation of this, I'm assuming you're referring to this house right here?
No.
Oh,
Yes, that house right there, yes.
Sorry. Is according to the records, when we assembled this plan, it was owned by the Wood family. As you can see here, Michelle Wood. I don't know, obviously, everybody that lives there.
Have they been notified about this coming in? And
Absolutely.
Would they like to look at that? Or is it their land that you're putting this on?
Actually, my colleague Kayleen Roach works for Batavia Solar LLC as well. And Batavia has been in contact with this landowner and has been in discussions, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kayleen, discussions.
Owned by the Genesee County Economic Development Center.
Oh, no, the parcel's owned by the Economic Development Center. But this homeowner, Batavia Solar, has been communicating with, is my understanding.
Oh, yes, we've been in much communication with the property owner. Mm-hmm.
I sent out notices to all of the people, all of the neighbors. So if they wish to speak, they would have been here tonight.
Well, I'm looking out for the town and the community, Kathy, just so you know, because I have the situation out by my house. And, you know, if they want to sell that, they might lose their value of this property because the new owners. Do you have any idea if you're gonna put in a berm with some trees to kind of put this more natural?
At this early stage, we have not put in any screening, but it is typical for a screening plan to be implemented as the project progresses. And what we typically like to do when we're abutting a neighbor, as we mentioned, we've reached out to them. We'll communicate to them the type of screening and work with them to develop something that they'll be happy with.
Well, we gotta look out for the community also.
No, I understand.
That's why I'm on this Zoom meeting,
No,
is
I don't-
because they're trying to put one next to my house. And the next thing, they're gonna be behind my house. And if we don't put up berms and some natural trees and stuff, then that's what we get to look at. So that's why I'm on tonight.
Oh, I totally understand where you're coming from. It's been my experience. I appreciate when people come to us early and say, hey, can you make this screening? I'm always willing to try and accommodate what they wish, because they do, like you said, you do live there.
Right.
So and like I said, we've been working with them, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that they're happy with the end result. And it's something that will not be something that bothers them in the least.
And what about College Road going down there? That's all been natural all these lives. They you know, built the college. We got trees, woods, fence lines. Is there anything going along College Road?
I am not aware of any other projects. All I'm aware of, I mean, this is College Road right here.
Right.
This is the only project I'm aware of.
Yep. But I'm going back to your screening.
Yeah,
Kathy, this is Dan Lang with Town of Batavia. I just want to clarify, and hopefully maybe it'll answer some questions without being addressed specifically. But I did want everyone to know the neighboring property, Mr. and Mrs. Wood, are also attending this meeting. I won't speak on their behalf. I have not discussed this with them, but I did want to reach out and let everybody know that the Town of Batavia has always and will always require certain specifications for any solar, one of them being a decommissioning bond, and also the Town Planning Board throughout every solar farm that we've done thus far has required and requested trees, berms, and we try to get it as natural as possible in accordance with our code. What we also do is we require certain plantings of vegetation to be placed underneath every solar panel for any solar project that we have here that will help increase the bee population for farming purpose. We have gone and worked extensively with agricultural, as far as the Department of Agricultural, to get a seeding plan, and we also have that available that we provide to all the applicants to do solar within the Town of Batavia. I just wanted to clarify, and this is obviously not a site plan review or a special use permit that's being addressed tonight, but hopefully to just clear up some questions that may be asked, as we always have required that, and our intent is always to require it to be as naturally screened as possible when they're doing solar farms in the Town of Batavia.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to add something. The planning board is just being introduced to this project. We have not had time to talk about it. We haven't set our ideas, what we're looking for, and we certainly agree with Dan Lang. It's going to take some time. This isn't going through tonight. This is only a hearing to get input from the public.
Well, that's why I'm speaking up, Kathy.
And we appreciate you, Tim. We do.
Well, I'm going to mute myself, but I don't want a State Street project to occur again in the Town of Batavia, please.
Okay. Thank you
for
very
your
much.
comments, Mr. Morrow.
Okay, Sarah.
That was all that was on the list. Was there anybody else who wanted to speak?
I did, Michelle Wood.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. I just wanted to say that yes, Bob and I are the landowners of the house right there. And we really would like a berm put along the back of it so that, you know, it protects us in our house. That would be really wonderful if we could have a berm along there. We're okay and in favor of it being a solar farm there. When it was being looked at for other uses, you know, we would prefer a solar farm versus, you know, like a cement industrial building there. So we don't have a real problem with that. We just would like to have them, you know, come to us with what their ideas are and what they're planning to do.
I would be more, Mr. and Mrs. Wood, I'd be more than happy to, as we progress, give you my card and with Batavia Solar's permission, share with you what we do as we go along.
Thank you.
And you also can attend any of our planning board meetings. They will be on Zoom for a while, so you're just welcome to join us.
Great. Thank you very much, Kathy.
You're welcome. All right, anyone else? Okay, I'm going to ask one more time if there's anyone else that would like to speak regarding the application by Batavia Solar. Okay, I will close this public hearing. Thank you all for attending. You're welcome to stay for the rest of our planning board meeting. We'd love to have you. I will now open a second meeting regarding an event venue by Janice Smith. Kim, will you read the notice, please?
Yes. Notice of public hearing, event venue. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Town of Batavia Planning Board regarding an application for a special use permit by Janice Smith for the conversion of an existing barn to be used as an event venue for weddings and events at 9149 Creek Road in the Town of Batavia. This is in an agricultural residential A-R district, tax number 19.1-10.2. Said hearing will be electronically via Zoom video conference instead of a public meeting on Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021 at 7:10 p.m., at which time all interested persons will be heard. Written comments will be accepted until February 1st, 2021 by order of the Town of Batavia Planning Board, Kathleen Jasinski, Chairman.
Okay, I did not receive any comments or anything regarding this, so we'll just take input from the people that are here tonight. Janice Smith, this is her application. Would you like to make a short presentation, or do you have someone else that would like to?
No, it's just me. You know, I have a large barn. I have property. We recently went through this last year with my son, where he got married and didn't have a place to have it. So I'd like to, you know, offer that to other people. We don't really have anything around here like that, so.
You're right, it's an interesting project. Now, Sarah, would you like to see who wants to speak tonight, please?
If you would like to speak for this public hearing, please unmute yourself, say your name, and then I will make a list, and then we will go off the list.
Is there anyone that wishes to speak tonight? Who do we have here? No?
Yeah, Kathy?
Yes?
John Delpon from ZBA. Could you give me that road address again, that quick road, please?
Yes, 9149 Creek Road.
9149. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, not seeing anyone that wishes to speak, I will ask one more time. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on our second public hearing? Okay, I will close the public hearing at this time and we'll go into our regular agenda. Thank you all. I appreciate those that attended and we appreciate your input. This simply was what it was, is to get input from the public. So when we deliberate and we look at the projects, we will know how you're feeling about it. So thank you very much. So I now call the regular planning board meeting to order. Could I have a roll call, please, Kim?
Paul Marchese,
Here.
Paul McCullough,
Here.
Lou Paganello, Don Partridge,
Here.
Jeremy Lyles, Jonathan Long,
Here.
Steve Tanner,
Here.
Brooks Hawley.
Here.
You're all set, Kathy.
Okay, did I see that Jeremy's not here?
Correct.
Both
Him
of
and
our-
Lou.
Okay, both of our alternate members will be voting tonight, Steve Tanner and Brooks Hawley. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes of the previous meeting? We have two sets of minutes. We have the regular meeting of January 19th, and we have the public hearing on the Truesdale Solar Farms. Did everyone have a chance to read them?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes.
And that was who, Paul McCullough?
Paul McCullough.
Okay, seconded by
Brooks, second.
Brooks,
Brooks.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. The
I'll
next one,
I'll make a motion to approve the special,
who's speaking?
Paul Marchese.
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
I'll make the motion to approve the other minutes.
This will be for the public
for the
hearing.
Public hearing.
John, second.
Who seconded it?
John?
John Long, okay. Along with those minutes, we have questions and answers that Cypress Solar put out. And we'd like to include those with the minutes and post them on the website.
I agree.
So when you're voting on this, you're voting to also put the questions and answers on the website. Okay, let's take a roll call on that, Kim. This would be on the public hearing minutes with the questions and answers.
Paul Marchese,
Yes.
Jonathan Long,
Yes.
Paul McCullough,
Yes.
Don Partridge.
Abstain.
Thank you. Steve Tanner,
Yes.
Brooks Hawley,
Yes.
Kathy Jazinski.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, the first item on our agenda tonight is Land Pro Equipment. They have an application to construct a steel building for sales and maintenance of ag equipment at 4554 West Saley Drive. The first thing we need to do tonight is declare ourselves the lead agency. I sought lead agency status. I only received one comment from the Department of Transportation, and they were mostly interested in the driveway. I gave that to the engineers. So I would like a motion to declare us lead agency for the seeker.
Paul McCullough. Oh,
Paul McCullough,
Paul McCullough make motion. Second, Partridge.
Don Partridge, second. Roll call, please.
Paul McCullough,
Yes.
Don Partridge,
Yes.
Jonathan Long,
Yes.
Steve Tanner,
Yes.
Brooks Hawley,
Yes.
Paul Marchese,
Yes.
Kathy Jazinski.
Yes. Okay, is Andrew Schmieder here?
Hi Kathy, this is Andrew Schmieder. I'm here with Dave Sarinsky. How you doing today?
Okay, I see the two of you there now. Thank you. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is talk about the seeker, and I've asked Steve Tanner to review that for us and do the part two. So are you prepared to do that, Steve?
Yes, I am.
Okay, wait till I get my part 1 and 2 here. All right, go ahead.
All right, so part 1 was already filled out and accepted. Part 2 is the identification of potential project impacts, and we're doing the long form seeker.
The first question is impact on land. Proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface of the proposed site. The answer to that's yes. There's sub-questions. Do you want me to read every sub-question, Kathy?
If it pertains to it, yes.
All right, well, I'll just read them all. The proposed action may involve construction on land with depth of water tables less than 3 feet. That's no. Proposed action may involve construction on slopes of 15% or greater. No. May involve construction on land where bedrock's exposed or within 5 feet of the ground surface. No. May involve a removal of 1,000 tons. No. Proposed action may involve construction that continues for more than 1 year in multiple phases. No. Proposed action may result in increased erosion whether from physical disturbance or vegetation removal. That's a small, so I'd say no or small. And the proposed action is or may be located in the coastal erosion control area, hazard area, and that's no. Next question is question 2, impact on geological features. I answered that no. The question is the proposed action may result in the modification or destruction of or inhibit access to any unique or unusual landforms on the site. So I say no to that. Number 3, impacts on surface water. The proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water bodies, streams, river, ponds, or lakes. I say yes to this only because it is tributary to a stormwater pond on the west side of Call Parkway, which then goes to the wetland and then eventually over to Spring Creek. However, none of the A through K are no or small impacts. I don't really need to read them all because they're not really applicable.
Okay.
Impact on groundwater. The proposed action may result in new or additional use of groundwater or may have potential to introduce contaminants to groundwater or an aquifer. And the answer to that is yes. It doesn't require a water supply. The water demand exceeds safe and sustainable water withdrawal capacity. The proposed action will not allow or result in residential uses in areas without water and sewer because it does have water and sewer. It does not discharge wastewater to groundwater. Proposed action may result in construction of water supply wells in locations where groundwater is expected to be contaminated. No. The action may require the bulk storage of petroleum or chemical products. There is a service area, but it's not bulk storage, so the answer is no. Proposed action involve the commercial application of pesticides. No. Other impacts, I say that the service area, there is a service area where they're going to be washing down vehicles, and there is going to be, oil that would come off of those machines. I did check earlier today with Mr. Lang, and there's going to be an oil water separator and a grit removal system. So that's a small, impact. So the answer is no or small impact may occur. Impact on flooding. The proposed action may result in the development on land subject to flooding. I answered that no. Impacts on air. The proposed action may include a state regulated air emission source. The answer to that's no. Impacts on plants and animals. The proposed action may result in the loss of flora and fauna. I said yes to that. However, all of the sub-questions, which are A through I, are no or small to moderate impact in my opinion. Impact on agricultural resources. The proposed action may impact agricultural resources. The answer to that's no. This site is not used for agricultural purposes. And well over 70% of the land is not really conducive to agricultural uses as well, based on some soils mapping that I reviewed before going through the seeker. Impact on aesthetic resources. The land use of the proposed actions are obviously different from or in sharp contrast to current land use patterns between the proposed project and a scenic or aesthetic resource. I said no. So pretty much the same exact use as everything else on that road, which is great. Impact on historic and archaeological resources. The proposed action may occur in or adjacent to a historic or archaeological resource. I answered that no, and I also did get notification that SHPO was consulted, and there's a no impact letter. I believe that's true. Correct?
Yes, correct.
All right, thanks, Daniel. Impact on open space and recreation. The proposed action may result in loss of recreational opportunities or reduction of an open space resource as designated in an adopted municipal open space plan. No. Impact on critical environmental areas. The proposed action may be located within or adjacent to a critical environmental area. No, and that comes right off of the DEC mapper. Impact on transportation. The proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation systems. I did say yes to that, only because, as we know, on Hawley Drive, there's a continual development, and the DOT is interested in continually looking at that. It is my understanding that DOT has been consulted, and that you need to do a driveway permit for this particular project. Daniel, I don't think that or maybe Steve Mountain, is there going to be a traffic study required for this project, or is this already taken care of with regards to other traffic studies that the town has done?
Yeah, to answer that, we've had preliminary discussions that the traffic volume is not going to impact anything and fits within all the existing studies. If further along the project something changes, then the developer would have to come back with that change. But right now there's no impact that we see.
So I'm just going to read through these ones just so that we can document our answers A through F. A, projected traffic increase may exceed capacity of this existing road network. No. Proposed action may result in the construction of paved parking area for 500 more vehicles. No. Proposed action will degrade existing transit access. No. Proposed action will degrade existing pedestrian and bicycle accommodations. No. Proposed action may alter the present pattern of movement of people or goods. No. Impact on energy is number 14. The proposed action may cause an increase in use of any form of energy. And the obvious answer is yes, because they're putting in a building that will use lights and electric for whatever they have in it. Typical with this type of development, there's not anything that's going to be a huge excess usage of electric, and the existing grid system can handle the proposed project. So for questions A through D, all of them I've marked as no or small impact may occur with regards to the electrical usage. Impact on noise, odor, and light. The proposed action may result in an increase in noise, odors, or outdoor lighting. The answer is yes. The proposed action may produce sound above noise levels established by local regulation. I said no. Proposed action may result in blasting within 1,500 feet of any residence, hospital, school, licensed daycare center, or nursing home. I said no, and I assume that you're not planning on doing any kind of blasting for the construction of the building.
No reason to.
The proposed action may result in routine odors for more than 1 hour per day. I said no. The proposed action may result in light shining onto adjoining properties. I think that's a small impact, and I'm assuming that the site plan does have a light transmittance in it, and it shows that there's no light scatter.
Right.
And the proposed action may result in lighting create sky glow brighter than existing air conditions. I said no or small impact on that as well.
Right.
Impact on human health is question 16. The proposed action may have an impact on human health from exposure to new or existing sources of contaminants. I said no. Consistency with community plans. The proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. It is, so the answer is no. Consistency with community character. Proposed project is inconsistent with the existing community character. I said no, it actually fits in with the character of that area very well. So with that, I think that Kathy, it would be my recommendation to accept the motion to declare this as a negative declaration with regards to environmental assessment.
Okay. We have a motion by Steve Tanner. Do we have a second?
John.
A second. Was that Don?
John.
John Long,
Yep.
second. Roll call, please, Kim.
Steve Tanner,
Yes.
Jonathan Long,
Yes.
Don Partridge,
Yes.
Brooks Hawley,
Yes.
Paul Marchese,
Yes.
Paul McCullough,
Yes.
Kathy Jazinski.
Yes.
Kathy, can I
Okay.
speak up for a minute?
Who is that?
Tim Morrow. I know the public's closed, but Steve Tanner, you read a lot off. How do we get a report of what you read off?
Well, this is called the environmental review. And if you would like it, you could ask the town clerk for a copy. I think you might, I don't know if you can just get it or if you have to have freedom of information. I'm not sure. Dan, do you
I
know?
can, yes, if you would like a copy of that document itself, specifically for this project, you would need to file a FOIL request with Teresa Morosco, the town clerk. If this is something that you would just like to see what the seeker process is, if you go even do a Google search, for example, you type in New York State DEC seeker, SEQR, it will pull that document itself up and show you exactly what a seeker is for and why we do the seeker. And there's a lot of shortcuts and a lot of interesting reads on the website for that itself.
Okay, thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, the next thing we want to do, we want to talk about the site plan review. And I wonder if Dave and Andrew would like to talk about it.
Well, I think you might be pretty familiar with the project by now. Obviously, they're looking to go ahead and develop approximately 14.5 acres off of West Hawley Drive. This is going to be a Lampro maintenance and retail dealership where they're going to go ahead and maintain agricultural equipment, turf equipment, and also do sales and service on the site. As the site plan shows, right now we're showing about a 28,000 square foot maintenance facility. Have about 15 bays for doing maintenance on agricultural equipment and about 5 to 6 bays for doing maintenance on turf equipment. The main sales and part storage is approximately 22,000 square foot. That is going to have some office space in there because they're planning on moving some of their administrative personnel to the site. But also they've got about 7,000 square foot of part storage to go ahead and service all the various turf and agricultural equipment in the area. There's another cold storage building being proposed, which is approximately 200 foot by 75 foot. This will be a non-conditioned space, be a pole barn type construction, just to keep some of their materials stored over in that location. I think this site lends itself very well to what's being proposed. We've got a lot of room out there. They have some area out front where they'll want to display some of their turf and ag equipment. But that's basically what they're proposing. And I think it fits in very well with the surrounding businesses in that area. Speaking about traffic, I did send a letter to Tom Lichtenthal today. I meant to do that earlier. Just give an idea what our traffic volumes are anticipated to be, and they're not that much. During the peak hours, they're anticipating 10 to 15 vehicle customers per hour, and that would be during the peak, and that's based on some of their other shops that they have. They'll have probably 3 to 4 cargo deliveries at most a day. At the upper end, they're looking to have about 65 employees at that location, so impacts on traffic really weren't anything significant and shouldn't impair the traffic volumes in that area. If there's any specific information that we can share on that. The other thing, just bringing up on the secret part, as far as the lighting, we do have some perimeter lighting, but we have shields on them, so we're not going to have any spillage whatsoever onto adjacent properties.
Okay, does the board have any questions regarding the site plan?
I do, Kathy.
Yes, Steve.
2 questions. One is with regards to parking. Can you kind of just give us an overview of how many parking spots there will be and how many handicap spots there will be?
Actually, I did show, my site engineer was working on that and actually increased that. So I think originally I had shown 4. She changed that over to 6. She went ahead and looked at the number that we had, but by code, I think she said we had to have a minimum of 6 handicap parking. And those are located right at the front entrance of the building where the main entrance comes on in. And as far as the total number of parking spots on this, I think I had like 80 of them total, or shooting right around 80 total. That is probably going to be decreased, and One of the reasons for that is part of the original plan, they were looking to go ahead and have a conference area on the second floor. That portion of the project has been eliminated, so that was only if they did have training at that location and they brought in maybe 50 people that we wanted additional parking. So we're dropping that parking down, but we'll have a minimum of 70 parking for employees and 40 for retail customers.
Okay, and then my second question is with regards to a SWIP. Has the SWIP been prepared? And maybe a question for Steve Mountain, has that been reviewed and has it been accepted?
It's currently being prepared. We have Pinewood engineers who are working on this SWIP. We did meet with the town and Pinewood engineers just to kind of go over the general outline of the SWIP and what we're proposing, but that is currently in the works. And once we go ahead and get the overall general site plan reviewed and approved, we'll be submitting that probably within 3 weeks, I would say.
So, and last thing, more of a comment for, I would assume Steve Mountain would want us to approve this with the caveat that all the engineering plans get approved by the town engineer prior to going to construction.
Yeah, like Andrew had just mentioned, you know, we're still waiting on final plans and a lot of the detail, which we typically do, but the site plan are presented meets all the requirements for the site plan approval process, but we do that. We'd like to do that contingent on final engineering review and approval.
Now, what about SHPO? Did you get, you said you got a report from them?
Yeah, we did receive a letter from SHPO that there was no negative impacts to the site.
Oh, okay.
We do have that at Town of Batavia, Kathy. Dan Lang.
Okay. The reason I'm asking, I'm looking at the county planning board. They approved this with modifications, and one was the SWIP that we just talked about. The other was SHPO, and they talked about the short environmental assessment form. We had decided to do the long form, which we have now completed. So we've taken care of all their modifications. So I think that their approval is fine with this.
Yeah, we'd actually received that letter during the county planning board. Unfortunately, my microphone wasn't working, so I couldn't inform them of that fact.
Oh, don't you hate that?
I do.
Yeah.
That's why he's here.
Okay, does anyone from the board have any more questions? Is everyone, pardon me?
I move for site plan approval pending engineer approval.
That was John Partridge.
McCullough second.
Ooh.
Paul McCullough second. Steve Mountain, were you trying to say something?
No, I'm sorry. I must have bumped something.
You must have coughed. Your light came on. Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. There's no other questions on the floor? This is for the site plan review. Kim, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Don Partridge,
Yes.
Paul McCullough,
Yes.
Paul Marchese,
Yes.
Steve Tanner,
Yes.
Jonathan Long,
Yes.
Brooks Hawley,
Yes.
Kathy Jazinski.
Yes. And I'd also like to mention that they're creating 5 new jobs in our community. That's great.
Thank
So
you.
now you have your seeker, your site plan review. You will work with the town staff and get the engineer's approval, and you'll be all set.
Thanks,
Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks so much, Kathy. Appreciate all your help.
Oh, you're welcome.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay, the next thing, this is an introduction of the application by Batavia Solar. Now, we had the public hearing, so we know a little bit about it, but we want to talk about it a little more. Plus, I want to talk about the seeker. Now, who's here? Jim, are you ready to speak again to us? This is an introduction to the planning board. Like I said, we know a little now, but if you want to tell us anything more.
I think I went over the project before. I think I don't really think there's anything else to add, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, does the planning board have any questions?
Kathy, Steve Tanner again.
Yes.
The site plan was, it looked like you had, where you bring the electric to the road, there were 4 poles, is that correct?
Let me pull that back up. I believe there are 4 as required by electric code. I'm not an electrical engineer. I have an electrical engineer on my team. They require.
That's perfectly fine. The only reason I asked is some of these applications we've seen have shown 5 or 6, and we know that probably the minimum you can get away with are 4, but we like to try to keep it at a minimum. And if it means you have to put 1 or 2 on the ground, that's what we usually have done. But if you're at 4, that's probably where you need to be.
Yeah, we'd like to keep it to a minimum too.
And then the only other thing I had, Kathy, was, and it was discussed during the public hearing, but I definitely would like to see a screening plan. I'd like the screening to, cover screening for the wood house, not only from looking out their back window, but also their side window over to the driveway. I think that there should be some mounding and some trees planted. I think with the tree plantings, similar to previous projects, we should get them to show us some simulations, at the 1, 3, and 5-year perspectives of what will those trees look like in those timeframes. How much screening will they provide?
We did that for one of our projects, and it was very helpful.
Yep.
Can you do that for us, Jim?
Absolutely. We have a full visual simulation team in house. We can put something together. We'll work with both Batavia Solar and the Wood family where they're gonna, if they're sitting on their back deck, if with their permission, we obviously can't go on their property without their say so. Take a picture from their back porch and then do our simulations from that photo location. But again, that would have to be with their permission to take that photo.
Okay, you've got the idea that we do like to have it screened as much as possible.
That it's very common. Most municipalities do.
Okay.
And your
close-
setback from the road was like 80 feet? Is that correct? I think you said
50.
50 feet?
50
From
for the
College?
flood district.
From College Road?
Yeah, so you're gonna put screening along that as well, because that's not where your road is either.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think you want to encompass the entire site where possible with screening, so that people aren't really seeing this from the road from any direction in reality, because you never know what's going to be placed next to that down the road, if it's another type building, and it's just, I think it's prudent to do that kind of stuff now rather than try and retrofit it later.
No, that makes, well, we have to do it now, the screening, because as they grow, we have to take into account any shading factor over the panels.
Right.
So we don't want to put the trees in later only to find out, the first 7 panels are shaded for 4 hours of the day. So it's something we look at the beginning. And like I said, right now, this is the sketch plan. This is not the.
Are they going to be fixed, or are they going to be the ones that track?
These are the fixed angle panels.
Fixed angle, okay.
Paul, I'd suggest that maybe on the west end of the site that trees wouldn't be, shading wouldn't be necessary, visual shading or for trees, because that's on that downhill slope from the MedTech Center, and you won't be able to see it from the MedTech Center no matter what, unless you put up, 50-foot tall trees, which I'm guessing MedTech Center doesn't want to see.
That's true.
That's, I'm looking at the topo that goes from 885 at the MedTech Center down 20 feet to 865. So yeah, that's quite the drop there.
It's a lot of fill. Just think.
Can I
Sorry,
say something, Kathy?
I couldn't help that one.
That's fine.
I'm also going on the assumption that we're going to have the standard ground cover underneath the solar panels, the flowers for insects and all that. Okay.
Yeah, we want I believe Mr. Lang earlier had mentioned that you want a pollinating mix
Yeah,
for these panels. And obviously there's some great mixes out there that grow to just under the bottom tip of that panel so that you don't, get growth shading your panel. And again, they're great pollinator mixes out there. And I think Mr. Lang even said the town has one that you guys specify.
Yeah, we worked with Cornell Cooperative Extension. It's basically a 3-season mix, I'll call it, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not just a bloom once. It's a multiple times a year, different kinds of.
That makes sense. I've worked with.
It's actually soil and water conservation we worked with.
Yeah, I will get that sent over to you as well. That list of what does go under, obviously, as we move along, I'll get that sent over to you, Jim.
Is there a standard earn mix that you guys specify, or is it a town custom blend?
No, it's not a town custom blend. There's quite a category that you guys can select from, but as long as it's off of that list, it's quite a significant list, to be honest with you, of things that have been found, and it's within reason. It's not, ridiculous asking. It's more or less just to help keep that bee population. When we initially did our code, we were looking for something to add underneath as to where it can still remain agricultural if it is ever removed. It's a big benefit to the agricultural community that we try to have here in Batavia.
As long as it's not, I've worked with a wetlands seed mix that was $200 an ounce.
No, we're not talking. When I said reasonable, that's what I'm getting at. It's nothing like that.
Yeah, that was a bit of a sticker shot.
That one.
Okay, is there any other questions from the board? Okay, now we had originally had a short form seeker and we were going to talk about that tonight, but since then the engineers have required a long form. Steve Mountain, did you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, so it technically can be a short form, but it is, these solar projects do have a lot of information to them, including the visual and a lot of things you guys just finished discussing. So what our experience is that, if you fill out the long form, the planning board, when they review seeker, will have, a lot better information to do their seeker determination on. Many of the projects, when they're in agricultural districts, are a type 1 and you have to do the long form. This one you don't, but the preference, and I think it helps everybody's review to have the long form done. So if it's not a problem, Jim, if you guys could fill that long form out and get that submitted, then when the planning board completes the coordinated review, which I guess that's one thing did you see coordinated review yet?
No, we're going to do that next.
Okay.
I got that for next.
Okay. So Jim, is that something that you guys can prepare as the long form?
Yeah, that can be taken care of. I think Kaylin hopped off here, but yeah, I'll work with our client and we'll get that taken care of.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could get it to me as soon as possible, I can seek the lead agency status.
Okay.
Okay, so right now I would need a motion to seek lead agency status for the long form seeker for Batavia Solar.
So moved. Paul Marchese.
Is there a second?
Second, Brooks.
Brooks Hawley, second. Roll call, please, Kim.
Paul Marchese,
Yes.
Brooks Hawley,
Yes.
Steve Tanner,
Yes.
Jonathan Long,
Yes.
Don Partridge,
Yes.
Paul McCullough,
Yes.
Kathy Jazinski.
Yes. Okay, I'll send that out as soon as I get the part 1, and it takes 30 days, and then we can bring you back and review the seeker and talk about the special use permit.
Do I send that directly to you, or do I have to send it through Mr. Lang's office?
You can send it to Dan and he'll get it to me.
All right.
Please, Jim, thank you.
All right. I just wanted to make sure I was sending it to the right place, that's all.
Yes, if you send it to me, I'll distribute it. As soon as you get it to me, I'll send it over to engineers as well as Kathy and everyone else.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's all we're going to do on your project tonight. Thank you very much. The public hearing went well.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yep, thank you very much. Okay, Janice, you're back on. This is for your special use permit to use an existing barn as an event venue. This is type 2 action, no seekers required. And you've already made a presentation to us, so I'm going to ask the board if there's any questions to Janice.
Yeah, I have a question. I see that there's 157 parking spots on the lot. In that area, is it going to be asphalt or paved, or is it just going to be regular grass?
Just grass. We're keeping it as original as possible.
And now, is that a flat area? Is it?
Yeah, it's been farmland forever, so it's completely flat.
All right, I was just thinking about rain and bad weather and all that, and cars getting stuck. And do you have anything? Have you thought about any of that?
We haven't had any problems ourselves, but it is, a warm weather venue. I mean, it's not going to be during the early spring or the late fall. So not saying we can't get rain during the summer, but.
Dan Lang here, Brooks. I just wanted to clarify too. I did do a site visits over there, and I have been over there myself. It's a rather solid ground. When I was over there during the completion of the barn, it was rather wet, and I didn't have any difficulty myself. And there are stone areas and there's gravel, but it is rather solid, hard ground over there. From the site visits that we had, we initially, I've met many times with Janice on this as well, and we find it sufficient for what she's looking at doing for a venue of that.
All right, thank you very much, Dan.
You're welcome.
Thanks for that question as well, Brooks. Thanks for the answer.
Yeah. Now, Janice, if we were to issue a special use permit, we can ask you to come back next year and talk to us and see if you need to make any improvements or if everything's going fine.
Okay.
Okay, we're not Big Brother, but we do keep an eye on it to make sure everything goes well for you.
Okay.
So the only question I am left in my mind is that you're going to have, let's call it a wedding. And bands and stuff like that. Are we going to have any issues do you have any neighbors that are going to get mad because of the noise? And are we going to have to worry about time limits for your venue? That was, and I'm not trying to restrict you in any way, but I don't want to have to have you back here because the neighbors are mad at you, kind of thing. And I don't know that there are any close neighbors based on what I'm seeing here. Probably not, but you never know.
I would say probably, I would think sound would carry either east or west with the way the winds go. There's no neighbors either way for miles. The opposite way of going north and south, I mean, the neighbors are, well, they're my parents, so they're the closest one.
Probably not going to get any comments from them.
Right. I was going to say the next ones after that is a little further.
Okay.
Partridge, relative to the site, I'm a little familiar with it. I don't think that's going to be an issue. And if it is, eventually we can call her in once a year and review it.
Right.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea.
If we get complaints from the neighbors, then we would talk to you about that. But if everything goes well, that sounds good. I'd entertain a motion unless you have more questions.
Motion to approve, Steve Tanner.
Second, Brooks.
Seconded by Brooks. This is for a special use permit. Kim, would you call the roll call, please?
Yes. Steve Tanner.
Yes.
Brooks Hawley.
Yes.
Paul Marchese.
Yes.
Paul McCullough.
Yes.
Don Partridge,
Yes.
Jonathan Long,
Yes.
Kathy Jazinski.
Yes. Well, Janice, you can start looking at your business, work with our town staff, and good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
If any of us get married, we'll come and check your barn out.
Here you go.
Maybe a burn dance.
Yeah,
Just
that's an
saying.
idea too, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next thing is a zoning enforcement officer report. We have Dan here tonight. Dan
Yes.
Lane, what do you have for us?
Actually, I don't have anything else coming through at the moment, Kathy. We've got a few things in development in the pipeline. No submittals yet for any of them, but we do have a few conversations. We've been working with some developers on looking forward to some other projects coming down.
Good. Good. Okay, I just have a short report. Now, I miss sitting around a table and looking at things. And we talked to the attorney, and he said that we could have small group discussions as long as we didn't have a quorum. So I was thinking if someone has a project that they want to know more about, but without coming to a planning board meeting, we could, Dan and I could arrange to have a few people speaking with us, and we can exchange some ideas. So I just want to throw that out to you and let you know it's available. Any comments on that?
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, as long as there's not a quorum, it's okay for us to share information together. So you can contact me if you have something that you'd like to talk about. Now, Sharon, have you got anything from the town board that you'd like to share? Oh, you're muted.
No, not at this time.
Okay,
We're going to have a meeting. We're going to have a workshop tomorrow.
Okay, thank you for attending.
Okay.
Our next meeting is going to be February 16th, and well, we still have some things to work on, and like Dan said, he's got more coming up. So, does anybody have anything to say? This is open to anyone.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, Brooks,
Motion to adjourn.
Steve Tanner. Is there a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Thank you all for participating. Everybody put a lot of work into this. It was a different kind of meeting, but we're getting used to it, aren't we? I miss you.
Hey, Steve, did you go to that seminar on the solar storage?
I did.
Yep.
It went way long, but it was really cool.
It went very long, but the guys were really knowledgeable, and I think it goes long. People are really interested in what they're talking about, so I learned a lot because I've actually been doing a couple of those through my regular job in West Seneca. We have a battery storage facility coming in, so I needed to learn about it anyway.
It's kind of cool.
You can see it again? Do you know?
The what?
I think you can. Isn't it
What's it?
recorded so you can see it again?
Yeah, there's a recording that you can watch at your leisure or whatever. Supposedly they were going to do it. NYSERDA was who the thing was from, but it's pretty interesting concept.
It did come to 2.5 continuing education credits as well.
Yeah.
They do an environmental impact.
They definitely touched on it, and they talk about some of the necessities of the site plan review process.
Yeah. As well as you know, how to mitigate if there's any issues because of the different types of batteries that you're using. The lithium-ion batteries, technically they don't explode anymore, right? They just sort of burst into flames. I think that's really what it came down to.
Well, that's not good. That's too close to my house. So why would that be good?
They don't.
You don't have to be proposed in Batavia right now.
Tomorrow there is none of these systems located anywhere near us at all. The closest one is going to be in Buffalo. So there's no system next to you that was anything that was in our training. This is a battery storage facility, not a
Right.
solar farm. Totally different things. Essentially what they're doing is they're taking the energy from the solar panels and putting them in battery storage. I don't know. They almost look like cargo containers.
Right.
Would you know, from that size? Something you see on a ship, those cargo containers that go on like a tractor trailer. That's the size of these things. But it's a whole grouping of them. It's not just one. And they're designed to replace carbon-based, coal-fired plants. And the reason why they're using them is to supplement the peak utilization of energy requirements on the grid. So I'm not so sure how well it's going to work long-term, because as we well know, batteries in Western New York in 20 and below degree weather, not so good. So, yeah. And that's really what it comes down to.
Well, I would think you guys would look into that deep, you know, because I
That's why
just
we put
changed
the
my
training this
battery in my
tomorrow.
truck.
Yeah, it's not this would not be a system we would ever put in. This is definitely going to be a project-based thing from a provider. And I'm not even sure if it's a provider or if it's the government that's doing that, right? You know, the coal-fired plants typically are more federally based rather than state-based. So I don't know. And I don't think we, you know, it's really early to see what's going on. And, you know, our community is still very rural compared to where they're putting them in. They're putting 2 of these in the New York City region to replace 2 coal-fired plants in New York City.
Is there any chance you guys as town planners and members can do Genesee County layout and say, hey, we got all these solar farms here and permits to say, hey, this is what we're doing to the community?
Unfortunately, that would be a county decision. If they were gonna do an overlay, I suppose they probably could, right? But there's always home rule.
We can do it for the town of Batavia, and we
Yeah.
do have our comprehensive plan
Yeah.
that allows.
I think
The way
do.
it works, Mr. Morrow, is that each town, village, municipality has a territory per se that they have jurisdiction.
Right, I understand
So
that, but I think we
I
should
can't
do that.
enforce a jurisdiction on Alabama.
Yeah, but I
As
think
town
we
of
should do
Batavia.
a Genesee County. Is John Della Penna on that we could
But
do a
he's not-
map and
John-
say we're
John
putting
Della
all
Penna
these
is-
solar farms here and there?
But John Della Penna is the town of Batavia zoning board chair.
Right.
He's not anything to do with the county. The county.
Don't you guys think you
Felipe-
should take a look at it where you're putting all these and
Felipe
all the
Altamari.
housing and development? I mean, how are you guys gonna keep developing this town and city? I mean, the city forefathers shorted us because you couldn't go outside the city. I mean, you gotta take a look at this. Now you're taking up all this town land with solar farms. Where are you going with the people and stuff?
Okay, Tim, you know, you were here last time when we talked about a moratorium.
Right.
And the moratorium went through the town
I'm
board.
sorry, Kathy.
And
I
what we're
just thought I would talk a little bit and say, hey, take a look at this.
No, you are, and I'm just telling you that we have a moratorium. We're taking a step back and we're looking at it. It's exactly what we're doing. So
I'm hesitant to send Greg Post an email and say, I'd love to be on it, but from what I've seen so far, it's always okay with you guys. So maybe we could do a grid and say, hey, look at all the solar farms we're putting in here. Where the families are going.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tim, you don't have to be on the board to attend. So you can attend the meetings and you can see what they're talking about, or you can become asked to be a member. Whatever you'd like to do, but that way, that's how you find out information.
Yep. Okay, well, I just wanted to throw it out to you. If you did a grid of the county and look at all the solar farms you're putting in, maybe we might.
He's muted.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you
I
muted.
didn't do it.
Sorry, maybe you might take a look at it. One of you guys can do a grid, Steve Tanner. Somebody can do a map of Genesee County and say, we got solar farm here, we got a solar farm here, Pembroke, Alba, you know, whatever's in Genesee County, take a look at it.
Well, we have a county planning department. You could also get in touch with them.
Yeah, Felipe Altamari is who you'd want to get in touch with, Mr. Morrow. I would strongly suggest maybe you making contact with him, because I can't say that your ideas haven't passed through my mind as well, but it's not our job / ability to do anything with the county maps or anything like that. That has to come from county planning. And so I would strongly direct you to contact Felipe. He's a very nice guy. He will talk to you, and maybe you'll find yourself on a county planning board seat.
Tim, can I say one thing?
Sure, Don. I appreciate it if you would.
Well, I've been farming all my life, and I studied agriculture. And since World War II, the U.S. has had a cheap food policy. And I farmed for 29 years, milking cows. And the only way I made money was selling land. And I finally gave up milking cows, sold some land, and doing a little better. And I have this land available. So I have some options. And this is like with every farmer. Now, in front of that land, I sold off 3 building lots just down the road from you. And that was one of the worst things I ever did. Now those building lots are going to stay there. Those homes are going to stay there. I can't spread manure on the land anymore. I can't, I have to be very careful on my chemical spray. And at the time I needed the money, so I sold some building lots. But I could sell that whole farm into building lots. And it's going to be building lots, it's going to be gone. My option of putting solar panels in is 20 years, maybe 25 years. You pull the solar panels out and the ground is better than if I farmed it. Because we put grasses and pollinators under it and like that. So maybe down the road in 20, 25 years after I'm gone, that land can be farmed. And hopefully they can make some profit at it. Now, the other option was I could put houses in there and it's gone. So that's one reason how I manage my resources. And I just wanted to put that out there for you.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate that, and I understand where you're coming from. If I was in your shoes, I would understand. Farming's a tough life. But in the big picture, I'm looking, city of Batavia, Don, you're at the age that knows, because I worked down there in my younger age, that
Yep. Bye-bye.
city of Batavia lost their expansion, how small they were. Now we're into the town of Batavia, and from your land to the town of Stafford, that's going to be taken over. So you got 25 years, you can't do anything from there. What are you doing on the outskirts from East Pembroke to Alba to all that? Are these all going to be solar farms? What are you doing with the people? That's what I'm saying. Where is our expansion? I mean, if you took a map of just the town of Batavia and said, hey, we got a solar farm here, we got one on State Street, we got one on Bank Street, we do that, maybe we should take a look at it. That's all I'm saying.
That's what we're doing, Tim.
Yeah,
That's exactly what we're doing.
And then how are we going to expand from there as you guys keep accepting all the solar farms? That's all I'm asking.
But Tim, your logic doesn't work.
Hi, John.
Because
we're still on.
You're going out and you're saying, well, how do you expand people? And yet there's farmland, right? So, so are we, so in your best case scenario, we're gonna take prime farmland to put houses up.
Well,
That doesn't weigh in very well either. So, I mean, there's gotta be some happy medium somewhere. And that's really what from a planning board perspective, my perspective, I'm looking out and I joined this planning board to help shape this community, not for me, but for my children, to make sure that they have what they need 25 years from now or 30 years from now. And you know what? We can't predict technology and what's going to happen after we're gone. But we can require berms. We can require things that make sense. And from a solar farm standpoint, they have a lifespan of 25 years, and then they get pulled out, and the land is returned to better than it was already taken. So it's a win-win scenario for everybody.
I hear you, Paul. I'm just throwing it out there.
I understand.
I thought the meeting was over and finally I could talk, but.
But yeah, no, I would certainly contact Felipe, because I think you might be you may be sitting on a planning board seat in the county and learn a lot about this stuff, and then have your input heard all the time.
Well, I'm not looking to do that, Paul, but I'm
Why not?
Why?
Why not?
I'm looking at my property right now.
I get it.
Next minute, you'll have Nichols solar farm up. How many applications do you have right now for solar farms?
This is the last one, the one we're working on now. We're not accepting any until after the moratorium.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there, and if I can help, that'd be great. If not, who knows what I'll do.
Well, you've been a big help. We appreciate you. And now I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. This has been very interesting.
Have a great evening.
All right. Thanks for talking to me, Paul.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.